Crypto market is 4% in green. XRP right now is at 0.484. Bitcoin is at 28,327. So we see green numbers across the board, but we are still $1.22 trillion. So the thought process which we shared here, saying, okay, Bitcoin dominance is breaking higher and we may move up, did materialize. This range we discussed about did get materialized. The breakouts, the thought process has been clear, right? We were looking at the market as a price action, and as we discussed in the yesterday's video, saying the micro is showing you a double bottom. Great. Then the medium term is showing you a double bottom, which means we are going up, and we still had a resistance somewhere close to this range. Right now, we observe that the market is at that level. Now, what do you think is going to happen next? If the market is about to get rejected, it's going to be something different. If the market is about to give you some thought process clearly, saying, okay, this can be a possibility, now you literally have to think about what should happen in the price action so that this negative sentiment is removed from the market and the market just continues to go up, up, up and beyond, right? Now that's just for Bitcoin, whereas XRP does show you some interesting pattern as we discussed in the previous video, inverse head and shoulder. We are breaking that to the upside. That's positive. If you get on a daily chart, this is what you look like. Okay, we're going to test the previous level of highs here, the wick to the upside. It is going to be interesting because we just got the weekly candle close. And here is what's happening in that, right? The message is conveyed crystal clear. The charts show you it is acting something like this. And it's up to us how we conceive this. Right? We need to actually take the information from the chart properly and digest it along with the news, the sentiment, the narrative and everything. Let it be a speculation. If the market is taking on it, the market is digesting that, it is going to be really interesting. And something I saw in the crypto Twitter today is from Tech Dave, which actually kept me thinking. And I'm like, I was actually going for a lot of calls, right? I was looking at the charts and I was thinking like, okay, what really is happening in the market? I'm seeing a lot of opportunities, divergence, breakouts, a lot of these in the market. And I was like, what really is happening, right? We are like, okay, the market is about to blow off. Something is happening for sure. And after that, while I was surfing through, I saw this and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is what we are watching. Meaning the crypto market on the altcoin side of things is about to take off. The divergence does show you this with the breakout. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Right now, while watching the market, yes, it does look interesting because the possibility which we discussed earlier, saying, okay, this does look really interesting on a daily chart. We are getting this kind of a move, which actually shows you a possibility in XRP of another 15 to 18% run up, which would take the price somewhere close to 0.55. Now, it's not a huge move up, but it is still positive, right? We are getting that in the market right now. It is still positive because once you understand the fact that the market is slowly trending to the upside, you are trying to go reach a wave structure, which is positive. Now it's actually up to you. Like we talked about this yesterday, saying, I personally think this is going to happen. And I actually explained why I'm becoming more and more optimistic about the price action in XRP, right? And the way you should be thinking about this is like, okay, if that's happening in the market, like the thought process we detail here, this is the upside potential and this would be a possible move, right? You won't actually take just one leg to the upside directly. You'll actually have multiple legs. And as I explained in the video, you can understand like, okay, there is a huge possibility inside this video, which actually shows what's happening now. And I'm like, okay, that was quick. Great. Now, what does that actually mean? Because on a 3-day chart, as we highlighted yesterday, yesterday we were just saying, okay, we have this possibility playing out where the chart actually suggests you there is a possible inverse head and shoulder playing out. Right now, that's already materialized in the market. What does that mean? Meaning, on a weekly chart, the narrative which we discussed over last 1 year, I know a lot of people don't actually think same, but trend lines do work. if it was not to work, then it would not have bounced from this level. And we are getting that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we are going with the history and the recent past, now we get an idea that, okay, something is happening. We are slowly moving up. Now it's a weekly chart and this week is just starting. So we need to actually see how things evolve on a daily basis. We'll follow through that. But on the short-term intraday leg of things, we'll actually have to break it on a perspective saying, okay, we actually got a decent breakout. The RSI is still looking fine. We're entering onto the overbought territory where the actual price action happens. It's not like once you reach the overbought territory, you get completely rejected and go back down. You stay close to that range and slowly push the price to the upside. So that will be what's going to be more and more interesting this time around. Now, the possibilities which I would like to lay out is like, yes, it is true that we are watching all this happening. Say here, you're at the resistance. Great. What do you think is going to happen next? What should be the possibility in the market? What can we anticipate in this market? We all understand the fact that market moves with Bitcoin. So right now, we are watching positive price action happening in the charts. So the live price here is 28,269. So we are kind of moving a little bit up and down for the moment because we hit a level of resistance. So while you go back into the chart and see, yes, we are moving up and we are looking at a possible tight range of resistance, it gets a little bit more tricky here. Imagine the price actually closed here for the monthly. On a weekly and on a daily, it does look positive, right? But the issue is on a monthly, it does not, right? Why? On a monthly, this is what you're observing. And that happens to be the hanging man candle, which is not that bullish when you're looking at what's happening, right? If this is true, that means that's your local top and you're going to correct back lower. Great. So now we actually go back into the chart and you ask like, okay, what should happen? Or what should you watch for in the price action where it gets erased, right? Even if it actually goes up a little bit more, say 28,500, 28,600, this is a possible movement where the monthly can close. Now we are close, right? Just 4-5 days and we are done. But if you actually see this, it's still the same. Yeah, it's closing in green or the bull side of things. Bulls won that particular month, but that doesn't matter. Whether the color is green or red, it's still actually showing you the downside shadow does attract a lot of sellers here. In that case, if you have to go bullish, something like this should happen. Meaning now it actually, instead of looking like a hanging man, it will look like a hammer pushing the price to the upside. We have seen something like this, say at the bottom here, right? We have a long shadow to the downside, but we got a shaved candle to the upside. Boom, it went to the upside, right? So positive things are happening in the market. Now, if you go back to the history, we would also see something weird happening, which would be a long wick to the downside. However, that's followed by a big giant green candle invalidating all those things, pushing that amount of bullishness into the market. So it does look like we have some odds there based on where we are in the RSI, where we are in the price, and where we are in the market cycle. That's something you shouldn't be neglecting. And remember, this is a monthly candle. So you got this month, which is about to complete soon, and then the next month to get this candle. So it's about patience for another month. Yeah, it's just 30 days, but you still need that amount of patience to watch how the market evolves. On a short-term basis, it is really interesting to see like the price didn't actually come back down, because if you actually look at the volume profiles, you'll actually understand like, yeah, the market actually did something, and we actually got the thought process like, okay, the market is showing you something close to 21,000, the volume, which is stacked up there. It was really interesting to watch. And the market right now saying, okay, I'm not actually coming close to that 21, makes me really, really intrigued, thinking what really is happening in the market, right? If that's what the market actually shows you in terms of volume profile, I'm like, okay, there is something sketchy here. So that's one of the reasons why I actually gave you this thought process. So you still have around major odds that it can play out like this. The only way it gets invalidated if it end up like this. Great. So that's Bitcoin. Now, why am I explaining Bitcoin before giving much detail on XRP? Because the market actually works something like that. Yes, we have the speculation of things going positive, 13th being bullish, all that things are there. But again, we don't have the data yet. It's all anticipation. It's all speculation. Great. The market actually moves with speculation, right? We understand that fact. While we look at the price of XRP, it is clear that we are showing some bullish momentum. It is clear that the possibility which we just discussed in Bitcoin can play out here, right? That's on a monthly. So think about this. For Bitcoin to actually play out like this, it needs to move a hell lot more, maybe 33,000, maybe 34,000, right? Whereas for XRP, that's nothing. The short-term moves which we just talked about here in the possible range here, that will just allow XRP to reach at a position where the candle would look like a bullish hammer pushing the price to the upside. Now, don't get confused watching this particular candle and saying, okay, that's a hanging man. It works a little bit different. It happens to be a hanging man at the top, at the bottom, it's a hammer. Right? You actually get the idea how the market actually works. It's sometimes confusing if you're new to the price action analysis, but when you try to master that things, it does look attractive because now we are looking at the macro, the micro, all different things, and you're saying, okay, it's interesting. Dollar is bouncing back up. Dollar is trying to close the monthly on green. It just closed 3 weeks and positive. So what the hell is happening? Either it's like, okay, people are running for the safe haven assets where you can think like, okay, they actually move the discussion from the debt ceiling towards how much money you can print, right? And they're just going to go brrr, right? That's the usual meme in the market. So they're going to actually do that for sure. Where will the money go, right? At the level of current interest rates, you'll have to think about risk on assets because otherwise you're not going to make it because there are institutions which are thinking about downgrading the treasuries of US. So in that case, as a corporate institution, you may not actually dump everything there. Money should be floating into risk on assets. That's one of the reasons why we see markets actually taking this as positive for the short note. Now we'll have to see how the vote goes. And usually with the vote, the price actually drops. That's the anticipation. Now, for Bitcoin on the short-term narrative, watch for divergence evolving, right? If you get to see market showing you some huge price action candles, divergence, understand that pattern. Because if not, if this happens to be a giant fake out and you end up buying at the resistance, it can end badly. One of the reasons for that is like this is the resistance category which we're observing. Like that's the standard deviation at the top of that. The bottom part would be somewhere close to this and you are at that resistance. So if you get rejected with a major candle here on a 4-hour or a daily coming back into the trend line, that would not look positive because this is like the trend which we are watching right now. So clearly, if you get rejected back into this, it's bad because then the downside is somewhere like 25 or a wick to the downside in 24,000s. It's going to be bad. So watch the price action. For me, the members here, I would be going through as much charts as possible for Bitcoin, for XRP, for all these assets inside the market to give you guys the best idea of what's happening, what's an opportunity, where the breakouts are coming in with volume, with divergence and everything, right? So if you are interested in getting information like that, look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So as we continue, while we actually look at Ether, just say we are looking at the altcoin market, we actually get to see this thought process like, okay, we are breaking higher. It does look positive. Now, you can use a daily chart for this. And you can actually say like, okay, if that's the thing, then what we are watching in the price action is like, okay, we just closed in green and a heavy bullish shaped candle, erasing all this bearishness with the double bottom possibility, the pattern breakout, the weekly just pushing you through, covering all these weeks of corrective action. So it's showing you like buyers are active and they are trying to make this as a new level of support resistance, which is positive, agreed. But Now you need to see the price going and making a higher high. From where it is now, it's not a huge move to put in a confirmation that it is going higher. Like it's just 10% move. Considering what you are looking for this market cycle, that's not a big deal. You're going to actually watch this asset class pumping, right? You're going to actually literally watch the crypto market, especially the altcoins jumping higher. We've actually discussed about this possibility previously, saying we are actually bullish. Whether a segment in the market looks bearish or not, whether a group in the market looks bearish or not, we are looking in the market in a bullish perspective. We made this divergence ever since we are going to the upside. And that does look really attractive, right? We actually got, say, the candle we just discussed about in Bitcoin is the opposite of this, right? At the bottom, when you get this, you're looking for something to the upside. The inverted hammer at the bottom means now you are looking for the upside. Basically, you're already trying to push the price to the upside. We are watching that asset evolves. So that means if that ends up bullishly and you go about this, now that means, yeah, there is a lot of buying strength happening in the market. And as you go into the market, you'll also see some of these assets are pushing much, much higher. Now, say we had the breakout calls, we had the opportunity calls, all of this here. And it looks fine to see, like, some of these are already getting traction. Some of these are already breaking through. One of the important facts you need to understand in the market is, say, for example, you are looking at a couple of assets, say, like we discussed. You go look at the assets and you need to actually ask this question like, okay, when was the recent high, local high, put in by this particular asset? And if you see that's 6 months back, that's a year back, that may not be the right asset. It may actually still slow down, right? And that's an area of interest which you should be looking at. Say for me, yeah, it's not actually pumping right away to the sky. I would say this is going to come back down, either make a double bottom or put in a new low. That's still possible. But short term, yeah, it does look attractive when you're on the short term charts. But if you're a macro guy looking for macro opportunities, you should actually understand there is a macro possibility evolving here, which actually broke to the upside. Things are changing. We just had a double bottom, which we called out earlier when we were breaking through in this particular asset. Boom, you end up. The price actually did quite well. But the fact that it actually did quite well last time and it hasn't corrected much down shows you, okay, you need to actually wait for some confirmation, whether it's the daily chart or the monthly chart. It's better to look for that and learn from that. Now, coming back onto XRP for the chart side of things, we'll actually have to ask ourselves like, okay, what are we really watching on the short-term segment of things? Because if Bitcoin is about to get rejected heavy, we would also see a rejection here at the resistance. And if the daily candle, now it's again 24 hours daily candle, I mean, you need some patience, gets rejected back and come down here, now that doesn't actually look much attractive, but still the pattern is still valid. Unless you, for XRP precisely, unless you actually gets rejected below this range, I would say we are still positive. We're still holding on to the trend. We are still moving with a higher high, higher low structure. And one of the important facts which we have to identify here is like we are putting in higher high, higher low structure, right? Even if it actually come back down on a daily chart towards 0.468, we are still maintaining a higher high, higher low structure, whether it's in the RSI, whether it's in the price action, it does look attractive. But if you actually observe in the next 10 days, we are already reaching this 0.5 range. Now think about the next situation we highlighted here. We're going much higher than that. If we break this level, that means we have higher levels to watch out. And I've already given you guys like what are the pumps I'm expecting in each move and then the correction on that scenario, right? So we're not actually going to detail that here. But you understand the fact the market is showing you opportunities across the board. You're watching some assets running like above the average. The market did 4, some of them are 6, some of them are 9, some of them are less than that. So it actually goes on with what you are watching in the market. If you get a breakout, if you are watching like opportunities evolving, now this kind of goes back into like how you're looking at the market, which of these assets are actually breaking higher, right? So if you are interested in that, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. So guys, if you do see value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.